On the happiest day of her life, she lost her legs. Moments later, the man she loved laughed and walked away. But what she did next made the whole world bow its head in respect. It was supposed to be perfect. The sun had barely risen, casting a soft golden glow across the small town. Inside a modest home, laughter echoed through the walls as friends and relatives gathered to celebrate the wedding of Aisha, a kind-hearted young woman known for her gentle smile and unwavering faith. She had dreamed of this day since childhood. The red bridal dress, the jewelry, the excitement, everything was finally coming true. But fate had something else planned. That morning, just hours before the wedding ceremony, Aisha stepped out briefly to pick up a forgotten item from a nearby shop. The streets were quiet. It felt like just another ordinary moment. Until it wasn't. A speeding truck, out of control, came rushing toward her. She didn't even have time to react. The accident was devastating. People gathered quickly, shouting, panicking, trying to help. By the time the ambulance arrived, Aisha had already lost consciousness. At the hospital, doctors fought to save her life. Hours passed. When she finally woke up, everything felt different. Heavy, silent. She tried to move, but she couldn't. Confused, terrified, she looked down, and her world shattered. Her legs were gone. Her family stood beside her, tears streaming down their faces. No one knew how to say it. No one knew how to explain that her life had changed forever. But what hurt her more than anything was what came next. Her fiancé arrived. The man she was supposed to marry in just a few hours. The man who once promised to stay by her side no matter what. He walked into the room, looked at her, and instead of concern, instead of love, he laughed. A cold, cruel laugh. "Is this a joke?" he said, shaking his head. "I can't marry someone like this." The room fell silent. Her heart stopped beating for a moment. Before anyone could respond, he turned around and walked away. Just like that. No goodbye, no regret. The physical pain was unbearable, but the emotional pain? It was far worse. Aisha wasn't just grieving the loss of her legs. She was grieving the loss of her dreams, her future, her dignity. For days, she refused to speak. She refused to eat. She avoided looking at herself. Every mirror felt like an enemy. Every memory felt like a knife. She kept replaying his laughter in her mind, over and over again. One night, as she lay awake staring at the ceiling, she overheard her mother crying softly in the next room. "I wish it had been me instead of her," her mother whispered. That broke something inside Aisha. Or maybe it fixed something. For the first time since the accident, she realized she was still alive. Yes, she had lost her legs. Yes, she had been abandoned. But she still had something many people didn't. A second chance. The next morning, Aisha did something no one expected. She asked for a mirror. Her hands trembled as she held it. For a few seconds, she couldn't look. But then, she did. And instead of seeing a broken woman, she saw a survivor. That day, she made a decision. I will not let this define me. Recovery wasn't easy. It took months of painful therapy, learning to sit, to balance, to move again. Every small step felt like climbing a mountain. There were days she wanted to give up. Days when the pain felt too much. Days when the memories haunted her. But she kept going. Slowly, she learned to use a wheelchair. Then came prosthetic training.
Falling, getting up, falling again. But this time, she didn't stay down. As time passed, something incredible began to happen. Aisha didn't just recover, she transformed. She started sharing her story online. At first, it was just a few posts, a few thoughts, a few moments of vulnerability. But people listened. They related. They were inspired. Her story began to spread. A woman who lost everything, yet refused to lose herself. Aisha became more than just a survivor. She became a voice. She spoke about strength, about self-worth, about not letting others define your value. She reminded people that You are not what happens to you, you are what you choose to become. Soon, she was invited to speak at events, schools, conferences, community gatherings. Everywhere she went, people stood up, not out of sympathy, but out of respect. Years later, something unexpected happened. The man who once laughed at her returned. Life hadn't been kind to him. His choices had caught up with him. Regret filled his eyes as he stood in front of her once again. "I made a mistake," he said quietly. "I was scared. I didn't understand. Please forgive me." Aisha looked at him, calm, strong, unshaken. Then she said something that left him speechless. "I forgave you a long time ago, but I moved on too." And with that, she walked away, not with legs, but with dignity. Life had one more surprise for her. During one of her speaking events, she met someone, a man who didn't see her as broken, a man who didn't pity her, a man who admired her strength. He listened to her story, not with sympathy, but with respect. And slowly, something beautiful began to grow. This time, it wasn't built on appearances. It was built on understanding, on support, on real love. Aisha eventually got married, not in a grand hall, not with thousands of guests, but in a simple ceremony filled with genuine happiness. This time, she didn't walk down the aisle. She rolled forward with confidence, and the man waiting for her didn't laugh. He smiled, because he knew he wasn't just marrying a woman, he was marrying a warrior. Today, Aisha's story continues to inspire millions around the world. She reminds people that life can change in seconds. People can disappoint you. Pain is unavoidable. But giving up, that's a choice. The man who laughed at her thought her life was over, but he was wrong. Because sometimes, when life takes away everything you thought you needed, it gives you everything you truly deserve. And Aisha, she didn't just survive, she rose. Never let someone else's reaction decide your worth. The same moment that breaks you can also build you if you choose to stand again, even without legs.